not going to be easy. It's ever changing. It's not going to end anytime soon. It's not a destination. Living in excellence is a process, and until that day comes, go be great.
It's your boy Chungo.
He just takes over. It's his own podcast now, dude.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Living in Excellence. I'm your host, Eliza Rivera. And you're not supposed to talk.
Okay,
right?
fuck
He's
that.
so excited. He's so excited to talk. I'm supposed to introduce you, brother.
Oh, I don't introduce myself?
No, I'll introduce you.
Right.
Yeah.
At what point do I talk after that?
You'll know what to talk.
Okay.
I might even just keep that whole thing in.
Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, excited to be back. Another episode. I do apologize beforehand if there's any technical difficulties with this video or this audio. Had a whole transition, like I mentioned in the previous episode, that I switched from my Mac to HP, and I'm no longer using the software and the platforms I was using to record audio before versus that I'm using now. So just trying to adapt and get through all the kinks and the minor technical difficulties, but at least we're able to record and we're able to be here and share this episode. So excited to be back. And today I have another guest. Getting really excited and used to having different guests on the podcast, and I have a whole recording schedule on my big ass calendar for 2024. And yeah, this person, I've known him since I was 6 years old. I was 6 years old when my mom married into my dad's side of the family. And we've been together since kids. We moved to Puerto Rico at the same time in the same year. We went to the same elementary school. We literally went to the same middle school. I came back, and then he came back a few years later, which is Christian Crespo's brother, Andre Crespo. And yeah, it's my brother right there, and I'm excited to have you on, man. Thank you for being on, brother.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Were you real excited to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I was.
Go for it. It's your moment.
My name is Andre. Ellie's cousin, not blood cousin, but we just call each other cousins and / brothers. Right. Like you said, I'm Christian's brother. Christian was on here a little while back. But just enjoying the day, man. I'm excited to get this.
Have a little coffee, through. Just get a little conversation going.
Yeah. Right before I showed up, I called Ellie to grab some coffee. Because I can't go without coffee.
Yeah.
I had to have my coffee in the morning. So
right.
Grabbed a cup of coffee, and now we're here, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know we've been here for a bit and had so many different audio difficulties, but. And we've been trying to get this podcast on for a while, and we had to keep rescheduling. We scheduled twice this year alone, and we were supposed to try. We were also trying to do it at the retreat, which we didn't have time to do it either. Mm-hmm. So it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, dude.
And even with the audio stuff, I didn't think we were gonna be able to do today. I was just like, man, I really hope I can get this to work. So I called Peter. So shout out to Peter, because Peter is the realest friend I've ever had. I even I just heard it. I was gonna send it to him, but I just heard Patrick Bedavid, PBD. He was talking on his podcast, I think, with Mike, the guy from Impulsive, Logan's friend.
Yeah.
Mike, and they were talking about Georgienko, and I didn't watch the full clip, so I have to go back and watch it. But Georgienko had shared something on his Instagram story, and it was saying PBD was telling Mike, he's like, it's hard to find a Jenko out there, and he was just looking at him, he's just talking. And it's hard to find a Jenko out there, like a real friend, like a Jenko, like a Georgienko.
Right.
And he's because a Jenko is like a friend that's always there for you and expects nothing in return. They're a friend that they'll always be there for you and they expect nothing in return. They want nothing from you. They just want a wholesome, real friendship and a wholesome, real relationship. And I feel like that's what Peter is, my Jenko. I've known him since 2017. It's been 7 years, and literally never asked me for anything. Never, disrespected me, never crossed the line.
Yeah.
Was always there for me. Part of my growth, part of my journey. He's helped me in so many ways. I literally FaceTimed him just to get the audio to work because it wasn't working. He literally fixed it, and it's just such a great guy, I feel like everyone in their lives needs a Jenko. just like a real ass friend that you know you can count on no matter what.
Yeah, dude.
You know,
He's great, man. And it just goes to show that us as men, we're always going to need that one friend. Or at least that pact, right?
Yeah,
that group. Because, you know, people say like, oh, you surround yourself with people and you have to choose wisely who you surround yourself with. And a lot of people disagree with that. They're like, oh, they're going to do their own thing and I'm going to do my own thing regardless.
Right.
I don't think that's the way, man. I think you need to have that connection, right? Because the chances are, if your friends are rich, you're gonna be rich too. Right. So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna do my own thing and they're gonna do their own thing. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
You don't really see wealthy people hanging out with unwealthy people.
Yeah,
you know?
that is a fact. Yeah, that is a fact. And I I forgot. Like I heard someone talking about it. I think it was actually George, and it was on like the George Anko and Andrew Tate podcast, and they were talking about it. It's like you really are like the 5 people you surround yourself with. Like George was saying, like during COVID, he was like in quarantine with like 6 girls. I don't know if they're sisters or like whatever it was, but he was like, and he said that he started feeling like getting more emotional like over time. Like he would like anything, like people would say something, he's like, oh my gosh, like he would feel offended, and he said he would have to get himself in check. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like stop being so emotional, stop being so judgmental. You know. And it's because like he experienced that firsthand, like who you were around. But me and X were talking about it. They said on the same podcast episode, if he had surrounded himself with 6 UFC fighters or MMA fighters, he would have come out real different from that quarantine. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because he probably would have been just locked in. You know, he's like I'm not gonna let these guys outwork me, and they're not gonna let him become complacent. Like he doesn't want to work out, he doesn't want to wake up early. Something's like, oh no, you're coming with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like that's what me X talked about on the last episode. That's what we have in our pack. Like, you know, like all the time, like me and X were joking on the pod that that time you called him. That time you called him and to see if he was up or if he had worked out or like whatever, because it was like getting later in and he was used to sleeping in. And like you called him and he like jumped out of bed, messed with his hair, put on a hoodie. And he's like, hey man, how you doing? And the reason we talked about it is because we were saying that like you and Christian, especially with where you come from, and especially how you were raised by your dad, which like I keep saying, I want to have Dre on the pod. Like he has a certain way of doing things and has a certain standard. So it's like you guys are very much like, you guys are very hard workers. You know what I'm saying? Like you guys know you have to do something, you get it done. Like, you know, the other day we were at the gym and you're over here yelling at Christian at 8:30 a.m. because he needed to fill something out, an application for something. And he hadn't done it. And you're like, dude, I need it now. He's like, dude, you need it now at 8:30 a.m. You can't just wait an hour. You're like, oh, okay, whatever. Like you just waited. Because you guys are like, I've got something to do. I'm going to get it done right then and there. You know, so like me and X were talking about having people like you hold us accountable and give us that call, and we're like, oh crap. It's like, what is he gonna say? It's like, oh, like, did I hit the gym today? Did I work out? Like, what time did I wake up? And like, you know, what have I done? Like, and then like we always think about before we answer the call, we're always thinking like, what could they want, you know? Right. And it's because you guys hold us accountable, because you guys are just like, get things done, like, you know, work out every day. If you're very disciplined to like what you need, you know what you need to do, and you get it done.
No, exactly, man. I think it's a good feeling to be that way too. Like I look around, the people around me, not my friends, just other people, and I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? You know, why are you so lazy? Or like, what is it? What's so hard that you can't just get up and do it? Right. You know, why is it so hard for you? Right. And that's just the way I see it, man. And recently I've applied that mentality so hard, bro. Like, not too long ago, about like 4 months ago, I started doing jujitsu, and I wasn't going to do it. Yeah. And I wanted to do it for the longest time. And dude, and I showed up to the gym by myself, just random gym, you know, and they all, you know, the coach said hi to me, and they got to know them, and I just saw them rolling around, and I literally just stood there for 2 hours. Stood there.
Just watching the first class. Oh, because you were waiting to sign up. Oh, okay,
I was just waiting to like just get more information, but I also was just looking, you know, just watching. And then from that day, 3 months later, I competed. I competed in my first tournament.
Yeah.
And
I went. Yeah, that was awesome.
It was good. I mean, I didn't do too good performance wise, but I mean, dude, it was exciting.
Yeah.
You know? I lost 3, won 1, but I still won 1. You know.
Yeah.
I'll take it. And even if I had lost every single one of them, man, it was definitely an experience.
I mean, just to like sign up and just to kind of put yourself in that position, that's like, that takes a lot.
And a lot of people, believe it or not, apart from like the guys who actually do it and compete, apart from those people, everybody else in the world, man, like they don't even start it.
Yeah.
They just don't even start.
They don't start.
They don't start.
Yeah.
They don't start.
That's like literally
You know?
so like, that's such a huge message to everyone in general, anything in life.
Yeah, just start it.
Yeah, just
and then
start
see
it.
what happens. Goes from there.
Right.
Never in my life I ever thought about competing at a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yeah.
Never in my life.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, but you've been talking about it for a while, just in general about like MMA. Because I remember
MMA stuff,
when you before you got down here, I think you were telling me about that MMA gym. That was that same one.
Yeah,
it was that same one.
Yeah.
And you told me about it years ago. I'm like, oh, we should do it. And you were like, oh, it's like a little pricey, this and this. I was like, dude, but you're investing in like your mental health. You're investing into your physical health. Like that's gonna be so good for you. And now it's like you're obsessed with it, dude.
Yeah. Exactly. And recently, unfortunately, after the tournament and like 3 weeks ago, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I got injured, man, training, and unfortunately, it it put me back a little bit, but that's all right, you know. And I'll still go every once in a while, like to into the gym and just look at them, say hi, and say what's up, and just watch them do their thing, but. This week coming up, I have an appointment, and then that's when the doc tells me, "Hey, you're good, you're good to continue training, or just do it slightly, or you're not good, or whatever it may be."
Yeah. What did they tell you exactly what it was?
A sprained MCL. Well, that's what he thinks, but he didn't give me an MRI yet,
right?
So we don't know for sure yet.
Is that part of? Are you going to get an MRI, or is just kind of like?
Well, I wanted to, but that's also whatever they say too. You can't just go in there and say, "Hey, I want an MRI," you know. So it's so this next appointment, I'm gonna have one, some one-on-one time with the doc, and he's gonna tell me, hey, like, I think we need an MRI or we don't, and just continue doing what you're doing. Yeah. And you're fine. You know. Yeah. It feels fine right now, so it's not that. I don't think I'm gonna need an MRI, but we'll see what happens.
But it's funny because like if anyone who doesn't know, it's like Chungo, like fresh off. Chungo's the type of person that he'll call you out of nowhere. It's Andre. We call him Pochungo. That's his like nickname in Spanish, and we call him Chungo. He's the type of person that will call you out of nowhere and just say some like motivational quote and then just hang up. Like he'll be super inspired in the moment he heard a quote, and he'll just like call you and then just like give you this quote and then give you like a Spartan roar like type thing, and then he'll just hang up. And 2 weeks fresh off your sprain, you were like feeling better, and then he calls me and he's like, I'm gonna go for a 5-mile run. And I was like what? I'm gonna go for a 5-mile run. And I was like, why? He's like, I saw like this old guy running down the street with his gloves and his beanie on, like in the cold, and it was snowing, and he saw him running, and I felt like you just took it personal, like an insult to him. And he's like, no, I gotta go run 5 miles. And I'm like, dude, what about your knee? I was like, maybe you should take it easy, just run like a mile or two, like 2 miles. I feel like that's good. He's like, yeah, we'll see. But he calls me, and when he calls me, the first thing he says when he's saying all those things, he's just like, average is the enemy. Success is my responsibility. And I'm like, what? And that was a really good quote. So this man literally goes, and I'm like, hey, well, send me a video when you're on your run, and let me know how it goes. And then I get a video, and he's like, I'm 4.5 miles in. He's like, my knee's hurting, my back's hurting. He's like, it's snowing out here. He's like, but average is my enemy, and success is my responsibility. And then you said something like, I don't know what the rest of the quote was, but the man went and ran more than 5 miles, like just a little over 5 miles, fresh off a sprained MCL in the snow in 35 degrees weather. And granted, you hadn't ran. I think the last time you ran were like 2 miles when you ran with me, and that was like a year or 2 years ago in the summer at Coolidge when we did the laps. Right?
Yeah. No. After the army, man, I was so tired of running. Dude, I was so tired of running. I was like, I'm not doing that again. Or at least the 5-mile thing.
Right.
And I don't know, something just overcame me. because me running outside, I wanted to run to a certain location and back.
Yeah.
But it just so happens that the location was like 2.5 miles out that way, and then 2.5 back. So I just decided to run it. I was like, wow, you know what? I'm just gonna do it.
Like for anyone who's like,
it took me longer than usual, but it's because
dude,
the weather conditions.
You also had to run in a while, the weather conditions, and you literally came off like a sprained MCL. Yeah. And like you ran 5 miles in like, I think you ran in like 53 minutes. 55 minutes.
It was really slow, but I mean,
it's not that slow.
It really is.
I mean, for other people who have no running experience, that's like they'll probably do that in that amount of time or less.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it's a good time for sure. Don't get me wrong, but it sucks, man. Maybe it's the route that I took too.
Right. The hills and up and downs.
Yeah, so
you're breathing the cold air in your lungs.
Yeah, and then not running for so long, like literally over 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, like it was a long time.
I mean, we used to run. Was it every day 5 miles, or was it once a week?
Just in the army? No, actually, it depends on like your plans, like what the week is for, and depending on your leadership and stuff like that, and who's planning it. But usually, at least where we were at, Mondays were like at least 3 miles or 4 or 5 miles. So it was 3 to 5, but usually it was just 5.
Yeah.
And then Wednesdays you would do like a ruck or something. And then Friday you would do like sprints.
Yeah.
And then Tuesdays and Thursdays you would do, like, what's it called? Oh, just like heavy lifting or whatever, just a regular workout. You know? That's what it was. But obviously that's like different per battalion, per platoon, per company, like all that stuff. That's just very different.
I mean, with what you were doing, you kind of had to be in that like peak physical shape.
I mean, and dude, and it's not even that I was in my peak physical shape. Yeah. But I was in better shape than other people, but not, obviously there was people that were just, they were so high up there, But, but yeah, dude, no, I definitely had a good time. Doing all that. I mean, not really. It sucked. Don't get me wrong.
But I mean, you also did it with your boys.
Yeah, I was with my friends,
together.
And then like when you're running and one of them is like yakking, and then the whole group starts yakking, like imitating the yak, so that way that guy can yak. Yeah, dude, that's a good time, bro. Yeah, that's a good time. I remember it. But,
I mean, like, because I remember even when you were deployed, like once when you were like overseas, like you ran a half marathon.
Yep. Yeah.
On like Kuwait, on like a day notice.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Right. You called me. I think you called me. Like, I'm gonna run a half marathon. I was like, what?
Yeah. I think that was after. I don't remember. I think it was after my Iraq deployment, where we came back to Kuwait for a quick pit stop.
Right.
And then they were doing. I think it was like at the time they were doing a Norwegian ruck, and the half marathon or something like that. And then so I just decided to do the half marathon with my boys.
How was that?
Dude, probably never again.
Yeah.
Probably never again, honestly. I mean, maybe one more time.
You're cramping up.
Yeah. Dude, like your whole, and especially if you don't train up for it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm training for a half marathon that's like 8 months away.
Yeah. No, for us, so I believe it was after
24 hours.
Yeah, I believe ours was after my deployment. So after during deployment, you're not really running, Yeah. Oh, and that's another thing too. So we didn't have run shoes in our deployment because we had to go. So some of us forgot our run shoes or whatever. Oh no, I think they just said don't bring PTs or something like that. Right. Because what's the point? I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. And then turns out we needed our run shoes to like do PT. Like the commander also wanted us to like at least go to the gym or whatever. Right. So you would just see the regular of like PTs and army boots or like in your combat boots or just go in your.
Did you run the half marathon in your boots?
No, because it was after.
I was gonna say.
No.
I was like, oh my gosh.
No. No, and that also took me a long time too. Like it took me like an hour 56.
I mean, that's also not that long. You did it like a day's notice, dude.
No, but you don't understand.
It was like 24 hours notice.
But you don't understand. Like in the army, everything's low key like a competition.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can imagine.
Especially with your boys. You know. So then you have these guys who are like super tall, super lanky. They can just stride it out. Right. And I'm over here 5'4", short legs. So it was always a competition between you and the boys. And then my commander at the time, my battalion commander at the time, dude, he was a runner. Yeah, like he was old, but he was crazy, bro.
Oh, I see.
Crazy, and he got it done like in an hour and 20, hour 10. Yeah,
and that heat too in the desert.
Yeah, well, luckily no. So that for that reason, we did it early. It was like 3 a.m.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Where you started
yeah,
off. Yeah,
it was nice and cool.
Yeah. So by the time you're done, it's early morning, nice and cool, and then you be. So the thing is, the drive to where the location was in Kuwait, dude, it was like 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah, it was long. It was really long. At least it felt that way.
Wait, you guys drove to go run?
It was on a bus, yeah, because it was from one base to another.
So what time do you guys leave?
Well, we stayed that night there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I was gonna
like
say
the night before. Yeah, exactly. So that's what it was, man. But it was definitely. I mean, my time in the army, I enjoyed it.
Right.
But so that was my first deployment. Had a lot of fun with my boys there, and then on for the second one. It was the same case. So rewinding back for my first deployment, I just had graduated.
Yeah,
right. So I just had graduated from basic and from OSIT and then from airborne school.
Right.
And then we came home for leave. And then because my unit was on the recall, so basically what ended up happening was on New Year's Eve, we got they decided to attack like the embassy in Iraq or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
I don't remember too well about it, but yeah. And then they just said, "Hey, come back to base."
Yeah.
And we're leaving. So that was it. So 6 days later, after New Year's, I think I was on a plane to Kuwait.
Yeah. Well, but you guys found out you were preparing everything, but you guys found out like. I think on New Year's Eve, because we went to a party that someone I was seeing at the time. We went to a party out in Boston in Cambridge, and we went to a New Year's party, and then we were just like drinking, having a good time. We're like, man, like like this might be like the last, like you're like, well, because you had packed your bags and you put them in my trunk, and we said bye to your dad and mom. Yeah,
so you were the last. You were the last goodbye,
right?
Because I said goodbye to them. And I didn't spend New Year's with them.
No, because we counted down together.
Because you said you can give me a ride
to the airport, right? Yeah, I was at Cambridge. Right.
So that was it. Yeah. So that's why we decided to just go your route.
Right.
Go with you instead of just me spending time.
That was a good day. That was a fun night. We were drinking, just like having a good time.
So the morning of the 31st, we got the call, say, hey, come back.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's the 31st, so it has to be like the night, but it also has to be the next flight out. But the next flight out was on the 1st, early morning, like at 6 a.m. or something like that. Yeah. So that's why. So then we, later on the night, we partied up in Cambridge, spent New Year's there. Yeah. And then, dude, where did we stay? Oh, yeah. So
I drove you to the airport.
Yeah, you drove me to the airport.
And then you just slept a few hours there till your flight.
Yep.
And I went back home.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, I literally remember that because I remember like saying goodbye and everything because I remember your mom and dad were like, especially like because your dad's a veteran, he understands how it is.
Yeah.
So like he was like really sad, like your mom was crying. I remember. So I was like, oh, we're having a good time. So we're having a good time. I remember dropping you off and driving back, and it was just a silent ride. I was just like I wasn't even talking. I remember crying. On my way home because I was like, we didn't know. And obviously, is your first time going out there? Like you just graduated. All these things.
I'm 19 at the time.
You're 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. So none of us knew. Not even you knew that you were going into. So then, like, I remember crying on my way home, and I was just like, "It'll be fine." Like this and this, but like it was to us, it was like on our end, like it was. We were really scared, and we were sad because we didn't know, what was gonna happen.
Right. And it was interesting because it wasn't a planned deployment. Like, we were on leave,
Yeah.
So
you were on Christmas leave.
That was just Christmas leave.
Holidays,
I was literally about to enjoy breakfast with my family.
Yeah.
And then I got that call. So it's just, part of being in the army or at least in that part of the army. And then, after a while we came back, a couple months over there, we came back and then, just did regular army stuff, like, your regular 6 to 3 or 6 to 5 or whatever it is, PT in the morning, work in the morning, and then in the afternoon get released or whatever, and then that's it, dude. And then of course training here once in a while, and then what ended up happening was in August of 2021, I think the end of July, we went to Puerto Rico.
Who?
Us.
Yes,
Remember?
we did.
I told you.
Yes, we did. It was the end of July.
No,
it was actually it was July. It was July 4th weekend because we spent July 4th over there.
So we spent like 2 weeks.
And we went to I forgot Mar Chiquita. I think we were at.
No, we were at Dorado.
Were we at? No. We stayed at Dorado.
Yeah, but we went to a couple beaches.
Yeah. But I remember because you went with Mangu, with Jaime.
Yeah.
Jaime that day. Yeah.
Exactly.
Saucy, dude.
Yeah. So but that was a big Alaha one.
That was a big Alaha.
Yeah.
Where the flag is on
Yeah.
the rocks. Yeah. That was a good. That was packed, dude.
Yeah,
I never experienced July 4th
So,
in Puerto Rico like that. Never.
And then after that, we go back to base, right? After leave or whatever, go back to Bragg. Now it's called Fort Liberty.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a whole thing, dude. It's a whole thing.
I'm not gonna get into
No.
that.
And then, and then like, I think it was halfway through August, like August 12th or 13th, on something like that. We got a phone call say, hey, we're going to Afghanistan to help these guys pull out of there. And that was with the whole Biden administration, how they messed that up, and it was definitely an experience, you know?
Right, yeah.
Like, dude, we were there so fast. We were there so fast. It was different from the Iraq one, you know, we got the phone
you guys were like
call.
in and out.
No, like, I mean, like, for the Iraq one, it was a phone call, come back, pack your stuff, whatever, get ready. So 6 days later, then we were on a plane. You know, and even then we were still stuck in Kuwait.
Yeah.
Because when we got there, a battalion already pushed into Iraq for us.
I see. Because
And
you
then-
guys were
yeah,
still waiting
but
to
then
get
we
there.
switched after when they come back. We went in.
I see.
So, but I think that's how it was. I don't remember too much. You know, at that point in time, I was just like,
Right. You weren't even 21.
yeah, I was 19, and
You were-
at that point,
yeah.
I was like,
You were still 19,
I
yeah.
was just in and out. You know, well, actually, that was for the Iraq one, but then for the Afghanistan one, we got the phone call, whatever, and then, dude, I think it was like 2 days after we were there.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fast, bro, fast.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's such a change in lifestyle. Like, you're going from like North Carolina with your boys, like, you know, you're working your job, like doing this and that, but like you're with your boys and like, you know, you're just going cruising more with your motorcycles. Like I remember you and your boys.
I got my
were
motorcycles
tight.
after that.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Because they had recommended it, but I think didn't Dilly or someone have like a motorcycle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dilly and
Boy,
Alex.
Dilly.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the stories you tell about those guys.
So there, it's Ethan and Alex, and they both had bikes. Alex has had his dad's bike, and then Ethan, he bought a nice Sportster. I think it cost him like freaking $4,000, bro. But
Wow.
that thing was like, it was powerful, bro.
Yeah.
Because but that was a whole different thing. But going back to the Afghanistan thing, man, we got recalled back. Well, not recalled because we were already there per se.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, dude, I just got out of work and I took off my clothes off to, like, you know, just to relax and whatever, and like to change because we just got off of work. I think it was like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I started playing video games or whatever because I just had to eat lunch. So where am I gonna go, right? I was at the barracks, and then literally I just get a call. I say, hey, come back to work. We're leaving. So I think it was like the day after. And
Wow.
the thing is, like, Fort Bragg, they do. I forgot the term for it, but basically, like, we're the ones who, throughout Bragg,
Mm-hmm.
they decide who's gonna go first.
Yeah.
And then one of them, and then the other brigade's in training. This brigade's the one
Yeah, I
first,
see what you mean.
know,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
the other brigade is just relaxing and doing
Just like on call, basically.
doing guard and whatever. Yeah, so you'll always have like one brigade on call.
Right.
And then within that brigade, you have the first people to go within that brigade.
Yeah.
You know, so we were actually the very first ones to go.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was. I'm not too sure. I think it was the White Devils because we were Red Devils.
Mm.
But yeah, dude. And then we just leave. You know, we just leave, and we land straight into Afghanistan.
Wow.
There was one pit stop, I think, or two. I'm not too sure. I think there was two. One of them was into Germany, and then the other one was, man, I don't remember, somewhere in the Middle East. I'm not too sure.
I remember you. Yeah,
Exactly,
I remember you talking about it.
Yeah.
Because you were updating me on where you were going and stuff. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't Turkey or something like that. No.
No. But I forgot where we landed, and but yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, you know, and then we just went straight into Afghanistan, dude.
Wow.
You know, and then
This is a 19-year-old experience.
No,
I
was 20
because you were
after
after
that
your
one.
birthday. Yeah.
yeah, because my birthday
September, yeah.
and we went in August, so I was technically still 20.
Right.
Then when we came back after the whole, you know, pulling people out of there and getting people out of there, that's when I turned 21, which was in Kuwait because we went to relax there for like 2 weeks or something like that.
But didn't you turn 21? No,
I turned 21 in Kuwait.
In Kuwait, wow, that's crazy. Yeah,
I turned 21 in Kuwait, and then
is that when you got back and we went to Vegas, or was that a year after?
Well, yeah, actually, no, that was a year after I got out, and
that was a year after.
Yeah, I got out.
Wow, so this is all you experienced, like for like from 19 to 21, like that was your whole life.
Yeah, basically.
Like you're like 21 year people are like college and partying and all this stuff.
Yeah,
and, like
you're
literally like experiencing real life stuff.
Exactly. And I didn't at that time. I didn't see it like that. At that time, I saw like, oh, this is normal.
Right.
You know. And then when it wasn't until I got out where I would look at other. And when I got out, I was only 21.
Right. Right.
So I got very lucky with my contract. I only did one contract, but I did so much in my first contract that I was like, you know what? I have no kids, no wife. Why am I gonna stay in?
Right.
I did what I wanted to do in the army.
You got the experience,
I got the experience, and it wasn't like I have friends of mine, dude. Like before I showed up there, they were in the army for 5-6 years, and they never got a deployment until I showed up.
So you were the bad luck charm.
Well, no, they actually called me the lucky cloud. I think
really?
That's what they called me.
Because they were waiting?
Yeah, because they were waiting, for so long. Yeah. And actually, funny story about that. When I first got to my unit, they were telling me, hey, I'm not gonna say who, but like they were, some guy asked me, it's like, hey, so what do you want to do in the army and whatever? I was like, oh, I want to deploy and stuff like that, and he laughed. He laughed.
I think he told me this. Yeah.
He laughed, and he's like, "Oh, we don't deploy or whatever." I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess not then. I guess I'll just whatever."
Screw me.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then 2 weeks later, bro.
Wow, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
I remember you showing up to your first day.
Because I was right before I went to leave. Because I got to my unit, and then we went back on, and then I went on leave.
Because I know you went back and you had to like do all this testing on like people, like the previous like well-known historic people in your battalion or like in your group, and then I remember you having to do all the tests, and like they went outside and smoked you, or like
well, that's that's the
part
normal,
of it, right?
That's part of it. That's like your first day there.
But I mean, like your first 2 weeks were like literally so like packed with like so much, which is like crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's what it was, man. It wasn't that bad though. Like it was, for me, it was the norm,
Yeah,
it was definitely the norm for the people around me and stuff like that for that to happen to in the first few days or whatever. It's just like it's like a warning sign, like, hey, don't mess up,
right?
Because this is the first.
Set the standard.
It's just to set the standard. And honestly, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
For some people, and not because it happened to me or whatever, but it just does because later on, a couple years later, they stopped doing that because they were getting in trouble or whatever, and then you would see it. You would see
the difference in people's behaviors and
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think it's something that should happen at least once or twice.
Yeah, I see. I get why.
But
because I think
it's a serious job. Like,
right.
People think it's not, but it really is. They don't take it serious or whatever. Dude. It was bad. Like there was times there was a couple guys in there, like they just didn't care or whatever. And sure, at some point, at the end of my career there, like I started not caring either.
Yeah.
But it was because after I've been through so much,
right.
I was like, dude, and then all my friends were leaving. I'm like, dude, like,
you were stressing what you were gonna do.
Yeah, I was stressing what I was gonna do, and it was just.
You were calling me every single day. You were calling me every single day with a whole career change. It's like, you were like, oh, I think I'm gonna go to school, do this. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I think I'm gonna do like this instead. And I'm like, wait, what happened with the other thing? It's like, we'll see. And I think you had like literally like 4 or 5 backup plans between like Border Patrol, you had school, you had HVAC, you had, which came in later on, and then you had like, I don't even know what like the other things were, but you literally just kept switching. And I was just like, every day I'd get a call and just you like, and I'm like, dude, why are you stressing it? It's like 8 months away. But like, obviously it's a different lifestyle because you're going from 8 months away to like, like for me, it's like 8 months away and I'm just sitting in my apartment just waiting for something to happen. You're 8 months away. You're not knowing if you're going to move to the state, if you're going to move down south to Florida, if you're going to move to Massachusetts. There's some other options going down to Florida with your boys.
I did have that option to go down with my boys. And they told me, John and Alex, they were the ones telling me like, oh, why are you going to Mass for? Like, come down with us, stay with us for a while until you get on your feet or whatever. But honestly, I just came back because of the family, and my mom's and stuff, and help her out and stuff like that. But yeah, and then after going through all that stuff, dude, like, and I decided to go to HVAC, the HVAC way, and it was fun. Like the process of getting there was dope.
Yeah.
Because right before I got out, the school for HVAC, which with the training was paid for by the Army.
Right.
So I forgot what it's called, the program, but it's been a while. For those in the Army, they could do it where, you know, they just pick a school right before they get out, and they can go to that school and train, and that's their place of duty.
Instead of doing the 6 to 3, that's literally
that's their place of duty, right? So for guys, like, they don't have to shave or anything like that.
That's awesome.
And girls, they can just wear their earrings, and the rules change now, so I'm pretty sure they can do that now. But you know, yeah, and it was a good time. Like, and some people, leadership wise, they'll see it like, oh, you're like, you're trying to cower it out. You're trying to cower it out, or like, you know, and stuff like that, or they just look down on you or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not their career.
Yeah,
you know?
you're setting yourself up.
Yeah, I'm setting myself up, right?
Yeah,
so,
leave the Army so you have something,
and you'll always have guys like that.
A source of income. Or
yeah, and you'll always have guys like that in the military too, like where they'll see like they're
like a machista little thing.
They're like, oh, why are you getting out? You know, there's nothing out there for you or whatever. And I'm like, dude, like right now, currently, I've from what I was making comparing the Army, I'm set now.
Yeah.
You know? That's a blessing to me.
Right. So you were making like nothing.
Yeah.
Because you were literally just only, like
it's also because I was
for a while.
I wasn't a private for a while. I was just enlisted.
Oh, I see.
They don't get paid much, you know. And like their excuses like, oh, well, you get barracks rooms and you get free housing.
Like the expenses.
Yeah, everything's paid for. So what's the point, right? But I'm like, dude, like at that point, I'd rather just get paid a little bit more, you know.
On your own terms.
Because the conditions weren't nice either, you know. But yeah, dude, it was definitely a great time. But like I said, you'll always have those guys who will look down on you because you're deciding to get out,
right? Or trying to get like, you know, like treated by a doctor, like your knees, your back, exactly. Or whatever, your mental.
It depends on who. Like, it depends who it is too. You know, like if you know this guy's like trying to get out of things, then it makes sense. Like you can tell,
right?
You know?
Right.
But for me, like for example, I never went to sick call.
Yeah.
But until the end of my career. Because I was actually hurting.
Yeah.
You know, I was actually hurting.
I remember. And you came down one time and worked out with me, and you literally, I never forget, you literally went to go bend down to pick something up at the gym, and then you fell, and then you slowly fell down onto your knees, and I heard your ankles and your knees crack. Yeah. And I was like, I've never seen anyone fall in slow motion, but you like real life did it and you were like, my knees, like that's how bad they are. And I was like, wow, dude. Yeah, dude. So it definitely, you know, it's just wear and tear after time from the jumps and everything,
rocks, runs, you know, and they in the Army, they don't really focus too much on the at least where we were at, on the recovery. You know, like at the end of it, like, you know, you'll stretch for a little bit or whatever, but that's it. You know, everything else is on you, right? So I guess it is on me too, you know. But it was until later on where they started developing programs and stuff to help you out. Good. You know, so that was good. But yeah, dude, no, that's it was definitely a good time. And
I mean, it definitely gave you like a perspective on life that you wouldn't have gotten anywhere else at 19, 20, 21 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a whole different, because you came back and like people around you, you were like you felt like you were just like 3 years ahead of them. It just meant maturity wise, because what they valued and their priorities were so different at that age, where you were coming back and you were thinking about a job. You decided obviously to go back to school to Fitchburg State to get a degree. Like you're thinking about real estate. You're thinking about like your family, like settling down, like, you know, like prioritizing those things that you missed out on when you left, where you like experienced the loss of those things, where people at 19, 20, 21, all they care about is going out drinking, spending money, taking these trips, taking there and there. And you're about like financially getting yourself set for the future. Right. People don't think about that at that age, you know? Yep, exactly. So I feel like when you came back, you were like, you were different. And people would look at me differently when I would talk to them, like, hey, like, why are you doing that instead of doing this? They're like, why would I do that? Right. You know, stuff like that, like whatever their financial goals are or whatever. So, but for me, even now, dude, like when I first got out, and because remember when I got out, I was 21. Right. You know, and it was definitely a good thing that I saw that firsthand. Yeah. Where I would see other 19, 20, 21-year-olds don't have nothing going on for them. Yeah.
or they're just kind of lost, and that's okay, right? Because people don't.
It's a young age. You don't really exactly know what you're doing.
But maturity wise, like I could see myself just we weren't on the same level, you know. And even like, especially after I started going to college, which by the way, I never thought in my life I would go to college.
Yeah, I don't think
so. Let's go to that story real quick. So after the Army, I decided to join an HVAC group, a company, and had a good time there. You know, loved it. A lot of learning for sure. But then, you know, I was told, hey, if you go to school, we'll pay you to go to school. So at that point, I was like,
that's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer.
Because you were going to make almost as much.
Right.
Instead of doing HVAC.
Right.
Yeah.
So, dude. So I just decided to go to school. I was like, you know what? Let's just risk it. I'll go to school. If I'm getting paid for it, why not? You know?
Right. Which is like crazy, like for people like, you know, like Chungo, like, I'll never forget, it was me and you. We sat down to study for your ASVAB.
Oh yeah, dude.
And trying to pass, like
dude, I was terrible at school, man. I was bad. So that's another reason why I joined the Army in the first place. I was terrible, dude. I failed the ASVAB like 2 times.
Yeah, I remember we kept studying. It was the math, too.
Yeah,
and we were doing basic math. Like we were going through like the study books. Me and you were like doing like, you know, the studying and like doing like practice tests, all this stuff.
And I think it's also in part was like my mentality towards life in school back then.
Right.
And it was the Army that, you know, put me on straight and fixed me up. And that's why I'm able to do college now.
Right.
You know.
But I feel like that also was from Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah.
Because of the way the kids are like
our
over
lifestyle,
there in school. Like you guys, you know, any chance you get, you're trying to skip school, you're trying to go to like skip class, go down to the gym to play basketball, showing up late, just
dude, you would skip school to go to the beach.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Like it's also like a national thing. Like
it is a national,
what,
like
what is it called?
Dude, I forgot what it's called, but yeah, you would just skip one. I was like a couple times a year.
Yeah.
To go to the beach.
Yeah.
You know, and then the thing is, most high schoolers are 17, 18-year-olds over there anyways. Mm-hmm. So you're drinking.
Yeah.
You know, because the age is drinking.
The age 18. Is different. And even so, they don't pay attention to it.
So you skip high school, skip class to go to the beach and drink and party and have a good time. And,
yeah, so you don't care about school.
School is like it was just like something that you had to do.
It's a place to go hang out with your friends. It wasn't to learn. Yeah, that's what it is essentially.
That's what it is.
You know, like we'd go like around, like, you know, I'd see like especially Corillo de Sacucho. Like, dude, there was like 20 kids just all walking around. You remember that? And then there was like these little like rival gigs from like this place to this place, and you'd have like 20 people. Letra de Steven. You remember Steven? Yeah. Like Abimael, all these people, and it was like, you guys would all like just stay up in corners, like skip classes, just like from the morning. You guys are all just walking, like causing like havoc, like so loud, like, you know, bothering all this stuff. And it was just like, not like you specifically, but you were part of that group. But a lot of those kids were actually like really bad. They were bad. They were good kids, but they just really misbehaved because they didn't care and they knew there was no consequences on them. Because what? The worst you can do is get expelled. Oh, you're doing them a favor because they don't want to go to school anyways. They'll just go do landscaping. Right. They'll just go do something like that. Yeah. You know, so like I feel like you having those years and then coming back, which I talked about on the podcast with Christian about Hurricane Maria and how they came back. Like you coming back, it was like your junior year.
I came back
because Christian was freshman.
Yeah, I came back my junior year.
Yeah.
Because I started junior year over there.
Yeah.
And then the hurricanes happened, and then
September.
October. So we came back September.
Right. Yeah.
Like 2 weeks after the hurricanes.
Right.
And then October 3rd is when I started school.
Yeah.
I believe. So I started a little bit late, and then I just continued on my junior year.
Yeah. And then so your plan wasn't like college wasn't like your mentality getting over here. Like college wasn't like a thing. Like you were working at McDonald's like long hours.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. I was.
Every day.
Yeah. Then I was working at McDonald's. I ended up working 2 jobs because I was working at McDonald's and GameStop.
Yeah,
GameStop was easy. It was a piece of cake. But you know,
and then I remember like this is like the type of like, you know, like lifestyle, like things we've had to go through. Like Chungo and me, like we've always been so close. Like we've been like, you know, since like Puerto Rico, I'd go over your house every day. We'd play video games. We'd go to the basketball court. I told him about me, you, Chungo, and Pito, and we just play basketball all day together. And there's a story that one time, for X and Y reasons, I was going to like a get together or whatever in New Hampshire, like at 11 o'clock at night. I shouldn't have been going. And I went, and my sign to turn home and to go back around, like was, I got stopped by a cop. and I never been stopped by a police officer before. And I got stopped. He gave me my ticket. He was cool. He dropped it down, and I should have gone home, and I decided to keep going. And I never forget when it was time to leave. It was like, I don't know, like 3 a.m. or something. Like, my car was dead. So my car dies. The battery's dead. I have like a 250,000 mile 1998 Honda Accord, you know. And all of a sudden, I don't know what to do. I'm not calling my dad because I should not be over there. I'm not calling my mom. I'm not calling my brother. I was too scared to call Dre, his dad. So I decided to call Chungo. And then Chungo goes in his like 200,000 mile 1995 Honda 94 Civic. Yep. Honda Civic, and he goes to go get me an hour and something away.
Yeah, it's like an hour 45.
An hour 45. So he goes to go get me, and then like he's like calling me, and he's like, dude, he's like, my car's overheated, like this and that. I'm like, oh no. So I could smell Chungo before he got there. I could smell him because of the fumes coming out of his hood. So he pulls up into the person's parking lot. His car, he shuts it off. He lets it cool down. We're like, oh great, he's here finally. You know, we go to go jumpstart my car. His car is now dead. We're both dead, and it's like 5, 6 a.m. We're both stuck in New Hampshire, an hour and a half away, and it finally like was able to turn on. It was basically like pushing. It was pushing. Your car was pushing. My car was like fine. Your car was pushing. We go back and we couldn't make it. We had to stop at the gas station because you're literally like your engine was about to explode, and and so we ended up having to call your dad. And then we call your dad. He's like, why didn't you just call me? Like, I would have got enough. I would have got it, you guys. I'm like, I felt so bad. So we blew your engine. Yep. And I never forget. I was like, we were sitting in the McDonald's. We were sitting at the McDonald's with sausage McGriddles when they were still there. Yeah. We were just eating them. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to sell my car so I get Chungo a new engine. Like I was going through this whole scenario in my head, and we ended up like, you know, not having to do that, but like I wanted to help out, and I think I actually paid you $300. I'm not sure. So I don't know if I think I did like over time because Dre had to like get a new engine or whatever. But like I remember I offered to pick you up from work because now your dad made you ride your bike. Yeah, he made you ride your bicycle to work to like set, you know, a lesson. Yeah. So I remember I offered to pick you up every single night almost from work and put your bike in my car for like a few weeks.
So I can ride it back.
Just so you can like, just so you rode over there and I would just pick you up and and you go home and I just sleep over or something. Yeah. But because like we had to like, you know, I appreciate you doing it. You're so real for that, dude. Yeah. But till this day, that I remember every time that video comes on my Snapchat stories, we just send it to each other. We just laughing. But like stuff like that, you know, like it's all these things that you don't think about, like, you know, like because you don't have that sense of maturity. It's like, oh, I shouldn't be doing these certain things, or I should take, like, you know, like your dad said it all the time, like take serious like the wellness of your car. The status of your car, make sure you keep up with it. It's the same thing with like your studies, like, you know, your education, like what do you want to do? You have to keep up with it, you know, to be able to make sure it runs right, because if it doesn't, then you're going to end up with a serious situation. So I feel like for you to transition from Puerto Rico to over here, failing the ASVAB, us studying really hard to get you to pass, and then, you know, experiencing all that, coming back to college, that was like not like, you were really like struggling making that decision because you just like, I don't know if I can do it. And I'm like, dude, you just, like you said, you just have to start. You just have to start, like you said in the beginning. So, I mean, you know, and what now? How many semesters you got left? How many credits?
Dude, I don't even know, bro. I think I'm at 2 semesters left.
Which is crazy because you just started.
Or 3, 2 or 3.
You started like last year.
I just started last year.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm trying to like I stacked up my last summer.
Yeah.
So I did last spring. Last summer, this past fall, and then now, and then I'm gonna stack up this summer, fall and spring, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So about like 3 semesters.
So what do you do in school? Like what is your major? Like what do you want to do with it?
Right. So honestly, right now I'm going for business management, so business administration with a concentration in management. But honestly, dude, like I'm not too sure yet what exactly I'm gonna do. But I'm also trying to go for my real estate license too.
Right.
So I just passed the course,
Nice. Awesome.
but now I just need to apply for the exam.
Oh,
And
that's it.
And
That's sick. That's sick.
Yeah. And then I'll just take the exam. Hopefully I pass. And if I don't pass, eventually I will.
I mean, yeah, you just take it again.
Yeah, just take it again.
At least you
yeah.
got the course out the way, which is the bulkiest
exactly,
part. Yeah.
exactly. And then apply for brokerages, look into
Nice.
that and stuff like that. And
So you want to get into business.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And see how that works, basically sales and especially with the real estate stuff, see how that works out.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole game. For me, it's like a whole game.
Yeah.
The whole real estate thing. So
I think, but it's fun.
it is fun.
It's fun. Like
It is fun.
like it's like, and it, Christian talked about it on the pod last time. Like it's very much like getting away from that 9 to 5, getting financial freedom.
Yeah, eventually,
Right,
right? Like not
right.
with just one property, but
Right.
eventually you.
But
will,
it's a game.
yeah,
You have to play the game right to
Right.
be able to
and you have to
win
learn
at
the
the
ins
game.
and outs. Yeah.
Right.
And right now, we're trying to see how that goes for us too. With the whole real estate stuff. So, but eventually, the goal is to just do that for now.
Mm-hmm.
Get the degree and do the real estate stuff. And if the real estate stuff doesn't work out, then I still have a degree at the end of it. So that's just the way to do it.
Oh, and basically off that, I talked to AI yesterday, and I told him to text you this weekend to you and Christian, because he told me that he since he got his real estate license in Florida, he was looking into getting the license now in Massachusetts. So he looked it up, and he doesn't have to take the course again. He just has to take the test to get certified licensed in Massachusetts. And he was saying he was looking at different stuff, like different properties and whatnot. And he was saying that there's different programs out there that he didn't know about, and he found out just now. Besides the FHA for first home buyers and stuff,
Mhm.
and he was saying there's stuff that's some crazy stuff out there that you can do I'm not sure the specifics on what it's called, but you can get you'll get a house and for 10% off of the house. You don't have to pay it at purchase, but you have to pay it at sell when you sell it at the selling. If you sell it later on,
Right.
but if you just increase the value of the house, let's say it's out in Western Mass, you say a $270,000 house, $300,000 house, you got a duplex or a triplex at 10%. That's 30% that you don't have to pay it at the purchase, but you pay at selling. You just literally increase the value of the house by a few K or 20, 30, 40K. At that point, now you're profiting.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, and with those tenants in there, it pays off itself. So
Right.
he was telling me all these things. He's like, I'm gonna get in contact with them. He just found out. I told him I was gonna talk to you guys. He said he wanted to send you a text message and let you know about all these things and these programs that he just found out when he was talking to some woman for the real estate stuff here in Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's one thing that that fascinates me, is the idea that, so back then, of course, it makes sense to buy a house
Right.
when interest rates were at 2%, 3% or whatever, and then for a $200,000 house or $250, your mortgage is only $900,
Right.
or $1,100 or whatever maybe. But now with interest rates, a house that's 270.
It's 6%.
275 is 6%. That puts you. This is just rough numbers. Rough
Yeah, right,
estimates,
right.
And then if you don't if you only give 5% down or 3.5% down, your mortgage is gonna be
Super high.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a little over $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, he was saying that some of the programs that you can just do it buy the house at a 1%.
yep.
And I don't know what it was, and it wasn't FHA, because he said he thought it was FHA, because when he talked to the woman, and she was like, no, there's other programs, and
Yeah.
she got him super up to date on stuff.
Yeah. The thing is with the whole real estate stuff, man, that thing interests me because why would I pay $300K for a house, like a 3-bed 1-bath, right? 3-bed 1-bath, 3-bed 2-bath, or whatever, when I could pay $300K for a rental property, right? A rental property, and
Yeah.
this property gives you
It's passive income at that point.
at least, let's say it's a 2-unit.
Right.
For the same amount of price that you just bought it for, then you would have just bought a house for.
Yeah.
If you did go the FHA route, everybody knows this. If you go the FHA route, you live in one, rent the other,
Right.
just until that first year passes.
First year, yeah.
And then you move out or you stay in it, whatever you want to do. And if you do move out, guess what? Now you can just rent that unit,
Mhm.
and just
And then basically
play the,
it
and just
pays
play
the
the game.
mortgage and pays your rent.
And play the
basically.
game,
Yeah.
right? Everybody knows that.
Right.
But the thing is, for me, it's why would I buy a 300K house if I could just do that
Right.
anyways?
Mhm.
Even if I'm only profiting $300, $500 off of it.
Yeah. Even if even if you're, let's say you're not let's say at a certain point, because you have to live there, and let's say you're not profiting because it's like a duplex, and let's say the mortgage is a little higher, like whatever, this and this, and you're having to pay $500 out of pocket versus paying $1,750
Exactly.
for like an apartment.
Exactly.
For like a 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, a 2-bedroom.
Yeah.
And you can literally pay $350, $500, $600 out of pocket, and then save yourself.
You're still
$1,200. Yeah, you're still saving.
And you have someone else paying for your stuff.
Right.
Oh, and of course, you're paying a little bit as well. Just like you said, just in case that first apartment doesn't cover the whole mortgage.
Right.
Or and let's say you live in the second one, all you got to pay maybe is $500.
Yeah.
Of course, you still got your bills and stuff like that, but that's still a lot better than paying $1,500 for an apartment up here in Mass. 2-bed, 1-bath apartment, dude.
Yeah.
That's gonna be at least $1,350.
I mean, mine's a steal here, and I'm paying like $1,290.
Yeah.
And she's like wants to go up little by little because she understands other people in this like complex in this condominium are paying like $1,400, $1,500, $1,600.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm still at $1,290 because she's like, so she was like, oh, do you think you can afford if I went up $40? And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It was $1,250 to $1,290. I'm like, of course I can afford that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Vito was paying at his thing. He was paying, I think it went up past $1,400 in Worcester for a studio. He was paying like $1,600.
Yeah, see, that's my point. So it's like at that
Worcester,
point,
a studio.
So at that point, why wouldn't I get the rental property?
Right.
And even if you just got a house, it'll still suck. Like you got to pay that whole mortgage, and with interest rates today, that's a lot more than you would have been paying for 5 years ago. But at the end of the day, getting that rental property is still beneficial. Of course, obviously, people's goals are way different, right? Yeah. You can't compare. Like if someone's goal is to get a home for their family,
and that's all they care about, because they didn't have that before, then
right,
you achieve your goal. Like and
you do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do, and it was gonna work out.
But for me, bro, like I just no.
You're looking for like financial freedom.
Yeah, like why would I invest that money in? Like if I had kids and a wife and all that, like that'd be different. That whole, and even then, I'll just live in one of the apartments.
Right, because you're going to be paying rent essentially.
Exactly.
But I'm
paying myself. Exactly.
To something that you're going to own.
It doesn't really matter.
Right.
So that's the way I see it, bro.
Right.
And
that's what the sales games is. Like
and then of course, like you'll have like what happens when your tenant leaves, or what happens something's leaking, or something's broken, or whatever. It's like, okay, then just deal with it then.
Yeah, but like you have to, you think
you're still paying for a mortgage,
right? But at the same time, it's like going back to what you said earlier. A lot of people just don't start.
Yeah,
and this is something that I talked about, because someone from the retreat, he like gave us the quote, and I remember because he wanted to started this whole podcast, this whole YouTube video. Thinking he has so much knowledge, he's so smart, and the way he talks and presents himself, I said I wish I could talk like you. Right. I wish I could retain the quotes and the knowledge and the information you have. And I was just telling him because he has a whole thing that a sales coach gave him, that prior proper planning prevents poor performance.
Right.
But at the end of the day, at the same time, too much prior proper planning also prevents performance.
Yep.
Not even the best part, it just prevents performance. So it's like you can get in a period in your life where you're just preparing and studying, and you're looking at all these things, but you never really start something because you just
gotta do it.
You just gotta do it.
Yeah.
You just have to start. Like you said, what if you had left that jiu-jitsu class? You stood there for 2 hours watching.
Yeah.
What if you left midway and you were like, I'm not gonna pretend you never went back. How would you feel now differently in your life and miss out on the opportunities you have and doing something you're so passionate about? Because it was uncomfortable at the beginning,
right, exactly.
Or if it was a little hard,
Yeah, exactly.
But that's everything in life.
Dude,
life is hard. Things are hard. You have to get past that hard. You have to get past the suck.
Yeah,
and
just try it out. Just try it out, dude.
Right.
And the worst thing that can happen is, well, guess what? Just sell that. Just sell it.
Yeah.
Just sell a house.
Yeah.
Just sell it. Sell the rental property, and everything goes back to where you just started.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing that can happen. Realistically.
I mean, yeah, depending on
the situation, of course.
But you obviously, as if you do everything the best to your abilities and the best way you can, then it's things won't work out that bad as the worst case scenario.
And for all those people out there saying oh, you can't afford a house now, it's insane or whatever. Dude, in Mass here in Springfield, dude.
Oh, Western Mass. That's what me and Christian were talking about.
Dude,
yeah,
Springfield, bro. I was looking at it. Sure, Springfield is not all that great.
Yeah,
that's a little right. but that's okay.
You're right on the border of New York. You're right next to Vermont. You're right not too
You're
far
everywhere.
from Connecticut.
Yeah.
You're literally right next to
So
the states,
Springfield, like, sure, like, who wants, right? Like, a lot of people will not live there. A lot of people will. Sure,
Mhm.
whatever. But at the end of the day, dude, I was looking at it, and you could look for this up for yourself, dude. Rental properties for 2 units, 250,
Yeah.
272,
I
mostly 275 to 300.
I saw the 269 triplex.
A triplex.
A triplex, and
Sure.
it was beautiful. And it
Yeah.
had it had a little garage.
Yeah.
It was and it had
And it
a little,
has-
yeah, it was
And
nice.
there's something, like, obviously at that price, there's obviously something wrong
Yeah.
with it. Like, it's got to have something.
But it could
Yeah.
also not be just the house,
and
but
not
it could
just
be
the
the
house.
community.
Right,
It
exactly.
could be the area.
Yeah, that just lowers the prices
People
down.
don't want to be there.
But at
yeah.
the end of the day, dude, if you just get it and you rent that thing out, even if it's just like a duplex,
Mhm.
and let's say you do go conventional on that, you get 5% down.
Yeah.
That's like around, like, dude, like, if for a house that's 280, right, a rental property, and you get 5% down conventional loan,
Yeah.
that's, dude, that down payment is like 14K.
Wow.
14K,
Yeah.
and you can do the numbers.
Yeah.
And it's like
And
somewhere
I mean,
around
if you find someone to do it with, then that's
yeah,
like,
it's even easier.
That's even easier. And
You
now
know?
if you have a duplex, triplex,
Dude,
now you're both getting that
that's
income.
another thing, man.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people don't trust you, like, you know, the people near you or whatever.
Right.
But like, if you, like, me and my brother, you know, like 100%, why wouldn't I get a house with him
Right.
and do that whole thing? And like, you know, sure, we're putting each other both on like on the credit and the loan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And some families are broken where they can't trust.
Yeah, they can't trust. Yeah.
They can't trust them,
And
or not
that's
even that they're
reasonable.
broken. It's
Yeah.
just that they know that, okay, you know, his financial position
Right.
is not as good as mine or whatever. So obviously, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's okay. But most families, dude, they just struggle because they decide to go their own way.
They decide to do it themselves.
Yeah, they decide to do it themselves.
Right.
But dude, I forgot who said it, bro. I don't know, some other podcaster or whatever was saying, hey, like, why not just everybody get together and start doing this rental property? Like, if
Right.
you have siblings,
yeah.
why wouldn't you?
Oh, I think I remember this. Wasn't it
Yeah.
about the Asian family?
I think so. Yeah.
I think I forgot we talked about
Yeah,
it.
and there's like a bunch of them in there in that one building or whatever.
Yeah, and
And then you just continue on, and well, that's a different way to do it. You
Right.
know, like you all move in together, and then you buy this whole big rental property, and depending how big, of course, like 2 unit, 3 unit,
right,
whatever.
right.
You know, and then you guys all just pay the mortgage together.
Mhm.
Like let's say it's three siblings, 3 brothers.
Yeah.
They get married, they have kids, and they can afford to have a triplex all combined together and
Mhm.
enough space for the kids and stuff. Why wouldn't you do
Right.
it? Why wouldn't you do it?
But it's because a lot of people have the fear nowadays because they don't have that sense of community. Like they don't have that like path, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
people they
exactly.
can trust. But like we're blessed to have that.
Yeah.
Like between me, you, X, Christian,
yeah.
Peter. Like
Yeah.
you know, you guys started getting to know Peter over the years.
Yeah,
AI,
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
like
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
getting to know him like at the retreats and stuff. Like you know, like especially like branching off into like you know different people like X and Christian's friends that we met. Like you know,
Mhm.
X, Francis. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, the twins, all these things, like, you know, even your girlfriend and those
Yeah.
twins, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, essentially
yeah.
it's like, but at the end of the day, it's, we have that sense of community that we know we can rely on these
Mhm.
people and trust these people that we can make a decision like that because we know we'll have the support. But a lot of people don't have that community or they're just surrounding themselves with the wrong people. And they
Right.
haven't tried to get out of that cycle
Yeah.
and break that cycle because
Yeah.
those are just family things that someone eventually has to break to create a better life for their children, for themselves.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do, man. You know, that's what I'm trying to do with me and Christian. We're trying to break that cycle, I guess you can say,
Yeah.
or whatever it may be.
Which I really think you guys are. Like
Yeah.
in so many ways. Like
Even
at
now-
your age, like even your dad said it, he's like, you know, he wasn't doing this stuff at like your guys' age.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you guys are setting up things for like even Babel for your and your other Babel and Jossie and them. Like you guys
Mhm.
are setting the example as like, hey, we can do these things. We just have to do it the right way.
Yep, just do everything by the book.
You know?
That's it.
'Cause
There's
you know-
no shortcuts.
You don't have to wait to be 40 years old to buy a house.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And then not only that, like, dude, like, even with just basic finance things.
Right. Like
Like-
you put us on to like finance and
Yeah.
credit and how to build credit, how to maintain
Yeah,
credit. You
dude.
really put us on. You give us a whole presentation at the
Mhm.
retreat, like
Yeah.
in the past years.
And it's
like,
something so, and dude, and most
Right.
of that, bro, that it's all public information, bro. You can look up a YouTube video,
Yeah.
20-minute video,
Right.
and you'll learn everything you need to learn.
But people would rather watch a 20-minute video of something like that versus watching even a 20 video of this podcast and
Right.
being able to receive the little information they just got about the real estate, you
Yeah.
know, the percentages, all these things, and just a strategy. People would rather watch 20 minutes of some, you know, bullshit basically of like nothing, and just instead of actually trying to inform themselves 20 minutes, because it's easier to just to mask the problem and to stay distracted to actually face the problem. Instead, and that's actually, and that was in the documentary movie about, I forgot what it's called, with the deers. The day that what is it called?
I'm not too sure, man.
But you know what I'm talking about. The one that just recently came out with the deers, that like it was like they were being attacked by like a cyber security thing, whatever attack, the internet fell. It's on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
I forgot the name of it.
Yeah. Where they're getting more aware and
right, and stuff. And like basically that little girl, if you really watch it, that little girl from the family, she was literally us nowadays in society. She was literally just so focused on finishing the series finale of Friends that she wouldn't communicate with the stuff she was seeing. She would just try to mask the problem and mask her situation, that she would rather try to figure out Friends and think about it because it makes her happy. And that's what she was saying, instead of actually facing the problem and realizing the situation you're in. And we live in a society where everyone's just so focused on like pleasure and just making themselves feel good instead of facing the hard reality of stuff, and trying to get themselves out of situation, trying to get their lives together, trying to create a better version of themselves, or try to move out of a sticky situation that they're in, because everyone's so focused on just feeling good. They don't want to feel uncomfortable nowadays. People don't want to like go to the suck. People don't want to put themselves in hard situations to grow, and that's literally the society we live in. But if you sat down and watched a 20-minute video, watch an hour and a half podcast, instead of watching an episode from a series on Netflix that's an hour anyways, you just got vital information to be able to help yourself, create a better life.
Yeah, exactly.
But people don't want to do that nowadays.
Nope, exactly, dude. Like I opened up a Roth, and stuff like that. And I do have like I have 3 credit cards. The first credit card is nothing. It's just
when you first started.
Yeah, first started. But my two latest credit cards, I looked up information on it, and like videos.
You put me on.
Yeah, and videos and just the way to do it right, And now my credit score went up really high. Like I think I'm blessed for it, you know. But also no credit card debt. I just stayed focused on paying everything on time. Right. In full. Yeah. That's it, bro.
And you were the one that gave me the tricks to be like, oh, you have to do it by this date.
Yeah.
Like I like the billing period is, but the statement period.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at the usage, like how much you want to do, just use it, pay it off by a certain amount. Yeah. Like all these things. And I started giving this information to other people, to like my parents and stuff. And it's like, this is literally just public information that people don't realize. Yeah. And it's out there, but like, the way you impacted like me with my financials and the way I've been able to save and be aware of my financial situation, even X being a barber, where he doesn't have these like, these official documents of things, like him being able to open a Roth. And like, he talked to me today that he was like, yesterday he wants to do it. I'm like, you have to do it. It's super easy. Just do it. Yeah. Like getting a credit card, you can start building credit. He put Nev onto the same thing with the credit card. And it's just literally such an easy thing. It's just people don't want to go get that information. Yeah. But
it's not even that. It's also not only get the information, but even if they do have the information, they're still scared.
Just act on it.
Yeah. They don't want to act on it.
Right.
And that's just the way it is, bro. And like for me, it's been so beneficial. Yeah. Just to know.
Just to know. Knowledge is so powerful, dude.
It is.
But like even from the retreat, the theme was like knowledge is obviously powerful, but like applied knowledge is like intelligence. Like that's actually like knowing how to apply it. Applied knowledge creates opportunities. Yep. You can have knowledge, it can be so like resourceful, but even wisdom, it's being able to understand situations and know how to act and apply that information and those resources accordingly, and not just withhold that. Like you can be the smartest person in the world and never act on it, and you just wasted all that useful information in your head because you were scared. For what? Exactly. And that's why knowledge is so important. But it's like if you don't act on it and you don't apply it, then it's like all goes down the drain. And you can get so much quick information nowadays on Instagram, YouTube, Shorts, Reels, TikTok.
And I'm telling you, man, even if you don't think it's possible, it is, bro. It is. Like, all you gotta do is just see it. You just gotta imagine it. Right. You know what I'm saying? I was watching this video, man. That's another podcast, and he was saying like, look around the room and find this color. Find this color. So now you're looking in the room looking just for that color. You've forgotten about every other color, but now you're looking for that one color. Right. And then you look for another. Then he says, all right, now forget about that color. Now look for another color, a specific color, you know, and you look around and stuff like that. But you've been looking for that specific color and you can find it.
Yeah.
You know? So basically the whole, you know.
Yeah. I mean, Christian talked about it on our podcast.
Yeah. It's just like, if you just set your mindset to it.
Yeah.
And you can see it and you can physically, you could just touch it, basically. You know, you'll get it.
Yeah.
There's a higher chance you can get it.
And that's like scientifically.
Yeah. And not only that, bro, like this whole real estate stuff, I never in my life I would have thought I would have gotten into that. And now I see it. You know,
now it's so doable because you're getting closer, but because you had to start.
Yeah, and I just had to want it.
Yeah,
and I had to see myself doing it too. Right. You know, and that's it. But a lot of people don't want to try it out. Sometimes they're forced to stay there at their 9 to 5. Right. They're forced to.
I mean, but even a 9 to 5 isn't a bad thing. That's what you want to do.
It's not.
That's not a bad thing.
It's really not.
That's not.
Yeah, you still get paid good money.
Yeah.
You're doing just fine, and you have a roof over your head. You got food on the table. You got clothes on the kids' back.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
I mean, that's a misconception of things nowadays. The 9 to 5 isn't a bad thing. It's about going to a job that you're miserable at, and
that's where
it becomes an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But if you love what you're doing, screw it. You know,
just do it.
Just do it.
That's life. We all have to do something.
But there's more to it as well.
Right.
You know, like there's that passive income, trying to find ways to do that. Right. Where the whole goal really is to, if you were to lose that 9 to 5, you have something
to fall back on.
Right. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just setting yourself up. That's all it is, bro. And I see myself doing all these crazy things, man. You know, never in my life I've ever thought about owning up 2 rental property, and I don't own one yet.
Right.
But I know for a fact that's gonna come.
It's gonna come
eventually.
Yeah,
it's gonna come, and I'm gonna make it happen. You know.
So I mean, with that, like, what would you be like? Kind of wrap it up. What would you be your message to, like, with like those things you're saying? What would you be your message to, like, the people listening, like, and like for the world, just kind of like with your life, what you're doing, and what you want people to understand is possible. Right, dude. You just gotta try, man. Just do it. Just enjoy the ride. Don't be afraid, and it's okay to be afraid. That's why the word courage exists. It's when you're afraid of doing something, but you still do it. Yeah. And just learn, get out there and learn. Look up, stop wasting your time in watching Netflix or watching this and watching that. And it's like you were saying earlier, dude, watch a 20-minute video on credit cards. Watch a 20-minute video on loans and how interest rates work, and just be better. Yeah. Just be better. Yeah. That's all it is, bro. Amen. And then just the laziness too, bro. You see it everywhere. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's something I kind of want to end with as well. As I saw it on the Georgienko Tate podcast, and he was saying, or I think it was with PBD, and he was saying that basically, like, there was 2 demons, and they were like assigned to like torment and like try to like force 2 people to fall and to get away from God. And one demon was like trying so hard and doing everything and throwing all these different like problems and situations and like obstacles at this person, but he wouldn't stop. He wouldn't fall. Like, he just kept going and going and going. And he's like, dude, what do I have to do? He was so tired. He was so exhausted. So he went to another one, and who looked at his guy was like completely in a hole. And he was like, dude, how'd you do it so well? How are you able to do? What are you doing to make him do that? And he's like, dude, he responded. He's like, dude, you're trying too hard. He's like, all you have to do is make him lazy, and from there, he'll make himself fall in the hole himself. You know what I'm saying? He said, you're trying too hard. Literally just allow him to be self-destructive to himself. Just make him lazy, and that's the key. And that's literally like a message to everyone out there as well, like, work hard. We live in a world that we have to work, and it's like I tell everyone, like, dream big, but work even harder. Dream big, but respect yourself enough to work even harder for that dream, and it's like, it doesn't have to be a millionaire, be all these things, like, have a yacht, have a Ferrari, sports cars. Like, I don't have that in my dreams, but I have the financial freedom to support my family, to be able to have my own business, to change the world, have a positive impact on it, and to be able to get my mom out of work so she doesn't have to work, possibly get my dad out of work so my wife doesn't have to work one day, so my kids are set. They have their college funds, they have some type of inheritance to take with them. But it doesn't have to be like $1 million, $1 billion change, like being the top 1% type thing. That's not everyone's goals, and that's not what everyone values, and that's okay. you know. But at the end of the day, whatever you value, respect yourself enough to work hard enough for it. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be uncomfortable, but that does not mean it's not possible. And even though the cup may look like it's half empty, in reality, just it's half full. You know what I'm saying? And on your journey, it might look like you're, you know, halfway there. You have halfway to go, but you were just halfway closer. You know, and that's really what it is. And it's the same thing, like you said. Average is my enemy. Success is my responsibility. Man.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Average is your enemy. Success, you know, like it's just, dude. If you just simply just flip that switch, bro.
It's a switch.
Just flip it, dude.
Yeah.
You know, just
be hungry.
Just be hungry. Be the best
better.
you can be. And
Amen.
I'm telling you, man, everything will turn out for the better, dude. You know, go to church.
Yeah.
If you're into that.
That's
Go to
what
church,
we've been doing lately.
read. Yeah, exactly. You know, I
Right.
started going to church. Never in my life I thought I would go to church
Right.
either.
That's
you know?
true, and that is a
I
fact.
go every Sunday now.
Yeah.
Well, at least I try to. You
Yeah.
know, but I still, you know, just go to
It
church.
gives you like a sense of hope.
Yep.
Hopefulness.
Yep. Go to church.
Yeah.
Read, learn, and just develop yourself, man. Try, get yourself out there, and don't be the victim.
Yeah.
You know, don't let yourself
Amen.
become the
Amen.
victim.
Hey, I appreciate you
You know.
coming on the pod, man.
Thanks,
I
man.
appreciate it. That was a really good episode. It was just
think
good
so?
talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to have you back on again. Like, we're definitely
man.
going to keep doing this. Like,
Yep.
I had some technical difficulties, but we'll get past that. But,
Yeah.
man, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Mhm.
It means
Yeah,
a lot.
man,
And I
for
know you
sure.
have to, like, you know, take Allie to work, all these things. But
Yeah.
I appreciate Allie for being a champ over there. Yeah. You know, and just
Yeah.
sticking around and
Yeah.
really supporting this. So,
Yeah, man, for sure.
yeah. So, like I say to everyone else, you know, and everyone listening, I say to everyone on the pod, and you know, I have this little merch starting to come out, these little bracelets.
Yeah, go be great,
Living
man.
in excellence. Go be great.
Go be great. Go be great, and don't be average.
Don't be average.
Yep.
Average is my enemy.
Exactly.
Success is my responsibility.
Yes, sir.
Amen.